Very warm welcome to all of you. I am Pankaj Thakur. Today we'll discuss student t-test in detail, which is a parametric test of hypothesis testing for small samples. Specifically, I will discuss about small and large samples and introduction to student t-test, why this test is performed, steps in applying t-test. Then we will move forward to hypothesis testing using t-test. T-test is applies for testing significant difference of mean of a random sample, and it is also applied for testing a significant difference of two means. And in the last, we will move forward to reading t-tables. We know that t-test is applicable to small samples only. Small samples are those samples where the number of observations are less than or equal to 30. On the other hand, the large samples are those samples in which number of observations are greater than or equal to 30. For large samples, these two assumptions has been followed. First assumption is data should be normally distributed, and the second assumption is value given by the sample should be sufficiently close to population values. Simply, on the basis of sample results, we talk about the whole of population. Due to these assumptions, different tests are applicable for small samples and large samples. Now we will discuss t-test in detail. The prominent work in t-test was done by Sir William Gosset in early 1900. He was working in a company which did not allow him to publish his work under his name. So he published his finding under his pen name student. After that, the test was popularized as student t-test. It is used where the sample size is less than 30 or equal to 30. It is applied to check a significant difference of mean of a sample with that of population mean. Also, it is applied to check a significant difference of mean for two samples or between two samples. Let's understand why a t-test is applied with an example. Let's you have 10 respondents from which you want to know their opinion on smoking is injurious to health statement. The responses were taken on a 5-point Likert scale consisting of 5 continuum that are strongly agree, agree, neither agree nor disagree, disagree, and strongly disagree. For males, there may be a mean score for this statement based on the responses received. So these are the responses received for this particular statement on this 5-point Likert scale, and also for the females there may be the responses. By applying t-test, we will come to know that there is or not any difference in mean score for male and female respondent on this statement. If there is a difference, we will interpret that the opinions of male and females differ for the statement smoking is injurious to health. Similarly, if no difference between the mean of for male and female on this statement was found, we will interpret that the male and female respondents had the same opinion on this particular statement. Steps in applying t-test. First, we have to develop the null and alternate hypothesis based on our problem. Next, we will calculate the t-statistics values from the formulas that are particularly known as t-calculated values. And then we will find the tabulated value of t-statistics from t-tables, which we will learn in later. And in the end, we will compare the t-calculated values with t-tabulated values. So, criteria for rejecting the null hypothesis is if t-statistic calculated is greater than t-statistic tabulated, we will reject the null hypothesis. And if t-statistics calculated is less than t-statistics tabulated, we will accept the null hypothesis. So we can choose a different level of significance for testing the hypothesis. Now we will move to test of significance of mean of a random sample. So if we have only a one sample and we have the value of population mean, then we will apply this formula here for calculating the t statistics or t calculated values. So these are the formula that we apply, where t stands for t statistics, x var is the mean of the sample, u is the actual or hypothetical mean of the population, where n is the sample size and s is the standard deviation of the sample. N minus 1 here refers to the degree of freedoms. So this degree of freedom is required when we read the t tables. Let's understand this test by an example. So here we have an example. The manufacturer of a certain make of electric bulb claims that his bulbs have a mean life of 25 months with a standard deviation of 5 months. A random samples of 6 such bulbs gave the following values: life of months 24, 26, 30, 20, 20, 18. Can you regard the product claim to be valid at 1% level of significance? So this is our problem. We have a sample size where the number of observation are 6, and these are the hypothetical values of mean, that is 25 months, and this is the standard deviation, that is the hypothetical value of standard deviation, that is of 5 months, and this is our sample size of 6 observation, and these are the life of bulbs in months. So 24 months, 26 months, 30 months, 20, 20 and 18 months. So first we will move how to develop null hypothesis for this problem. So null hypothesis, there is no significant difference in the mean lives of bulbs. So we will calculate the mean life of the bulb from here in the sample with that of population. So population, the value for the mean life of bulbs for the population, or we call it as a hypothetical value, is already provided in the problem. Alternate hypothesis, there is a significant difference in the mean life of bulbs in the sample with that of population. So if t statistics calculated is greater than t statistics tabulated, we will reject the null hypothesis. Alternatively, we will select the alternate hypothesis. We will say that there is a significant difference in the mean life of bulbs in the sample with that of population. And if the t statistics calculated is less than t statistic tabulated, we will accept the null hypothesis and we will interpret that there is no significant difference in the mean life of bulbs in the sample with that of population. The other case for t-test is to test the significance of difference between two means. When you have two samples, as we have already discussed in the example earlier, that was on the smoking is injurious to health, where we have the two samples of male and females. So this particular formula has been applicable in that case. So here t statistic is calculated. X1 var is the mean of first sample and x2 is the mean for the second sample, and n1 and n2 are the number of observation for first sample and n2 is the number of observation for second sample, and s stands for the combined standard deviation for two samples and it is calculated by this formula, and v here stands for degree of freedom and it is calculated by n1 plus n2 minus 2. So if we have 15 number of observation for the first sample and 10 number of observation for second sample, so degree of freedom will be 15 plus 10 minus 2, that comes to be 25 minus 2, that is 23. So in this way we'll calculate the degrees of freedom. For finding t tabulated values, we use t tables. Now we will learn how to read t tables. You can have the t tables from Google. As you can see in the above row, we will select the level of significance. If we have selected a 5% level of significance, we are sure that out of 100, 95 times our results are true. So we will select T 0.95. As you can see here, T 0.95. So if your significance level is 5%, you will select T 0.95. If your significance level is 1%, then you will select T 0.90. And in this side, in the first column, you can see the degree of freedoms. So you can select the degrees of freedom. Let's take it as 23. So at 23, tabulated value comes to be 1.714 at 5% level of significance. So this is the way to read a T table. In my next video, I will discuss how to perform student T test in Microsoft Excel and SPSS. Like and subscribe my channel. Thank you.